My name is Will Schuster, and my mission is simple. I want to help people maximize their true potential one short video at a time. And in today's video, I want to talk about a concept that I learned from my mentor and peak performance coach, Brian Johnson. This concept I'm referring to is called the PM Bookend. If there's one thing to remember from this video, it's this: today started the night before. And the PM Bookend essentially means that if we want to have a great day, or if we want to have a masterpiece day, in which Brian Johnson calls them, then we have to take specific actions the night before. And this is because of the simple and profound fact that today started not this morning, but last night. See, when most of us try to create our masterpiece day, we say, okay, cool, I'm gonna wake up at this time, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, and then, well, I'm gonna end my day like this. And that is great. There's nothing wrong with that. However, that's only half of the equation. We cannot neglect the fact that how we end our night has a dramatic impact on how we feel the next day. So, if we really want to maximize both our potential and start making every day a masterpiece day, then we have to begin taking action and prepping the night before each day. In other words, we need to implement a PM bookend, because how you end your day is going to directly impact how you feel the next day. See, I was taught that we have constant rhythms that make up our life, and we have to understand and appreciate these rhythms that make up our life. These rhythms are the PM to the AM, the PM to the AM, again and again and again. We need to realize and be aware of these rhythms because they make up our entire life. We also have to realize that having a PM bookend, which is responsible for a great night of sleep, is essential if we want to have those masterpiece days and ultimately live a masterpiece life. You know why? Because the quality of your sleep will determine how you feel the next day. Matthew Walker, one of the world's leading researchers on the science of sleep, I highly recommend his book. It's called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Walker first thought that sleep was just another pillar of health like exercise, diet, energy, and mood. Well, he eventually realized that sleep is the foundation upon which all of the other pillars rest. In other words, if we don't get a good night of sleep, then all of the other pillars of health such as energy, mood, and mental clarity begin to crumble to pieces. As you can see, sleep is absolutely essential, and getting our PM bookends right is how we begin to optimize our sleep. So, if we agree that our day started the night before, we need to step back and ask ourselves a profound question. And that is, what do I need to stop doing in order to have an amazing PM bookend and in turn have an amazing night of sleep? I think this would be a good time to quote a man named Ward Farnsworth. He's the dean of the University of Texas Law School in Austin, who wrote a fantastic book called The Practicing Stoic. He says you need to make a choice. Are you going for the good mood, or are you going for the good life? If you're going for the good mood, which is what most people in our society are going after, well, then you're going to stay up late bombarding your mind with entertainment on Netflix, Instagram, TikTok, while simultaneously diminishing your melatonin, aka the sleep molecule, due to all the blue light emitting from your devices. If you're going for the good life, then you're going to make the necessary sacrifices such as turning off the Netflix, not scrolling through Instagram, shutting off the computer in order to achieve that good life. As Brian Johnson says, choose to be actualized rather than entertained. Now, are you going after the good mood or the good life? I don't know about you, but I'm going after the good life. You know why? Because if I achieve a good life, it's going to be inevitable. I'm going to have a good mood. At this time, I'd also be remiss if I didn't quote another man named Abraham Maslow. Maslow once famously said, we have two choices in life. In any given moment of time, we can either move forward into growth, or we can retreat backward into safety, or as I like to call it, stagnation. In other words, in any given moment of time, our actions will either move us +1 forward into growth, or our actions will retreat us -1 into stagnation, aka no growth. What I'm trying to get at is this: staying up late with our eyes glued to our phones or to the television is a prime example of a -1. However, maximizing our PM bookend and implementing a nightly practice called digital sunset, in which I will get to in a moment, is a prime example of moving forward +1 into growth. The number one virtue that science says is directly correlated to one flourishing is zest, otherwise known as your energy. Now, what does science say is the number one foundation for your energy? Well, we just talked about Matthew Walker and his research on the science of sleep. He says that sleep is the foundation on which all of the other pillars rest. So, if we want to optimize our zest, aka our energy, then getting good sleep is essential. You're probably wondering, how do we optimize our sleep? Well, the number one thing you could do to optimize your sleep is shutting off all electronics at least 1 hour before bed. And this is called digital sunset. My Optimize coach Brian Johnson introduced me to this concept of digital sunset, and it changed my life. Since day one of law school, I began implementing digital sunset into my nightly routine like it was my religion. And if I had to choose one reason for my success thus far in law school, it was because I had a consistent digital sunset each and every night. Science shows that not looking at any electronics, aka blue light, an hour before bed significantly improves our REM and deep sleep, which is critical for achieving peak performance and maximizing our true potential. Now, everyone has different lives and goes to sleep at different times. That's great. Whether you go to bed at 8 p.m. or 12 a.m., you can have a digital sunset. Personally, I usually go to sleep at around 10 p.m. That means it's a non-negotiable that I have all my electronics off by 9 p.m. Some days, I even like to shoot for 8 p.m. and simply read a book or meditate until I get sleepy and hit the sack. Matthew Walker says we need to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, not 7 to 8 hours in bed, 7 to 8 hours of sleep, which means that we need 8 to 9 hours in bed in order to hit those numbers. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a product that I have been using for the past 2 years to measure my sleep as well as determine how long I sleep. It's called an Oura Ring, and this was one of the best $300 I have ever spent in my life. In short, the ring which you wear to bed tracks your sleep all night long. Then, when you wake up, you open up the app and it tells you how well you slept, how long you slept, how much REM sleep you got, how much deep sleep you got, and much more. If you're interested, check out the link in my description box and get yourself one. It will literally change your life because the more you know about your sleep, the more you can tweak until you finally have your optimized sleep regimen. As I like to say, the more we can measure, the more we can improve. Using this ring, I now know that I need to be in bed for 9 to 10 hours in order to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Everyone will be different, which is why I recommend you invest in some sort of sleep tracker. It doesn't have to be an Oura Ring. I just like Oura. You can choose any sleep tracker you want, just invest in one. Take my word. As my coach Brian Johnson says, don't look at digital sunset or a PM bookend as a chore. Look at it as a gift that you are giving yourself. In other words, when we choose to rock our PM protocol, see it as a gift you are giving your future self. Be awesome tonight so that you can wake up, feel great, and look back and high-five the PM version of you tomorrow morning. And that starts with optimizing your PM bookend with a technique called digital sunset. Now that you are well equipped for getting an amazing night's sleep, check out my video on how to have an amazing morning routine for optimal energy, weight loss, brain health, and overall wellness. And I will see you in the next video.